I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Questions I'm getting all the time here on my YouTube channel and Twitter. Owen, where are interest rates going? How many more hikes are we going to get? And etc. You guys know I don't know. I'm not an economist, nor do I play one on TV. And as you guys know, I tend to avoid a lot of that stuff, keep my blinders on, run my own program here, buy good quality equities, hang on to them, collect the dividends. As long as I've got tenants in my property, I'm not too concerned. But let me weigh in on this because it's a hot topic right now. We are seeing some of the biggest spike, I think, in interest rates in the history of Canada. Just had a 50-point basis hike as I'm doing this blog a couple weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago. They thought they were going to get a 75 point, so maybe the Fed blinked a little bit. We'll have to see, but I think we are expecting probably another 75, 100 basis points in hikes, maybe 2, 3 total over the next 6 to 7 months. The next meeting is December 10th. That'll be the last meeting of the year. Maybe a 25 or a 50 point basis hike there. So, every rate hike that goes up is a cold bucket of water on the real estate market. And I'm the first to admit it's a delayed reaction to these things. We probably have not seen the full ramifications of this on the current market yet. There's always a delay there. And then, of course, I've been telling you guys for many months now on the lack of homes for sale, lack of high quality inventory. There's not a lot out there. So that's keeping the market at bay here. But reading in Bloomberg here and some other financial experts and economists, even though, remember, they're guessing at it too. They're saying that, perhaps, we're probably closer to the end of this than a lot of people realize. Maybe 2, 3 small increases over the next 6 months. And then don't be surprised by next summer or fall, we probably level off and perhaps even a pivot and maybe see some small reductions. And the reasons given for that make a lot of sense. As you guys know, we're raising the interest rates here to keep inflation down. But of course, we're going to drive the economy into a recession. And when we drive economies into a recession, of course, there's a fallout to that. And the fallout to that is a lot less revenue coming in to the government. And as you guys know, the government is drunk on our tax revenue, on our income taxes, on our property taxes, and everything else. So as one guy points out, when you slow the housing market, I've said here many times, the housing market is a super heavyweight when it comes to the economy. It punches way above its weight class. When you slow a real estate market, which really drives a province like British Columbia, that's less PTT money coming in, less GST money. It stifles development, which of course gets more homes into the tax roll, the property tax roll, which the municipalities collect to run the cities. There's a lot of fallout from that. When economies drop, salespeople like myself, although don't feel sorry for me, business is still incredible for me. I'm pretty much unfazed from it because I'm a well-established realtor. But younger or newer realtors are definitely going to be hit with this slowing market. Last year, maybe they made $140,000. Next year, they might only make $95,000. Well, there's $50,000 less that's going to be taxed in the form of income tax. So this will have an effect on the bottom line of our government. And that's why a lot of people are saying, hey, they're starting to feel that now already. By next year, don't be surprised when these tax revenues start to go down from all different sides, that maybe they start to think, hey, enough is enough. And we should maybe be a little bit more dovish on where we're going with this. Last couple of things here. An article in Bloomberg here talking about interest rate hikes. This was Bloomberg, October 5th. Rising rates will only widen wealth inequality in Canada. And it went on to say that, there are several factors that affect wealth inequality in Canada, but housing is the single most important element. Went on to say the recent spike in interest rates has lowered home prices and the down payment thresholds, which it has. But it has ultimately worsened affordability with higher debt service costs. It totally has. We are probably the most unaffordable market right now ever for 1-bedroom condos, 2 bedrooms, detached starter home, or a duplex on the east side. Sure, the prices have come down a little bit, not much on condos, not good quality 1-beds have barely been scathed. But the reduction has not made up for the increased borrowing costs. It's not even close. Get this, for each percentage point increase in interest rates from the current levels, we will need to see an accompanying 10% decline in home prices. So for every 1% to make it even, prices 1% increase in interest rates, home prices have to come down 10%. So I had a 1.9% variable rate less than a year ago. Now I'm paying 5%. So that's over 3%. So that means that's a 30% drop in the home price. We're not even close to that. Quality one beds downtown, quality stuff, is off less than 5%. Less than 5%. Borrowing costs are up 30%. Two beds under 1.1, in downtown Vancouver, maybe off 6-7%. Detached homes on the east side, maybe down 7%, 8%, so nowhere near this. Now, I do hear stories of people telling me out in the Fraser Valley, Abbotsford, and Mission, and those places that had a huge run-up during COVID are down. Maybe someone can comment on that, because I don't have, well, I could get access to the MLS out there, the Fraser Valley board, but I don't. But maybe you guys can tell me, have home prices there come off more than 30% for detached? Because that's what they would need to match what the increased borrowing costs have been here. Crazy. Final thing I just want to finish with here. You guys, I did that blog a while ago on the NDP, removing the rental restrictions on older strata. And a lot of you guys, most people for sure, saw what a fiasco this is going to be. And I just want to point out to people need to understand that, people were saying, well, of course, Owen, you don't want those rental restrictions removed. It'll probably be bad for your business and bring prices down. You obviously didn't watch the video. It's not. Listen, the NDP removing, I think most people know, where I come from with this blog and my history and how many years I've been in the business and my father and everything else. Money and commissions for me has never been at top of mind, even in my first year in real estate. I've gone into this business to help people, get them into their first home, help them create equity, help them, buy and accumulate the largest asset they're probably going to own, which is their principal residence. And I love doing this blog and paying it forward to you guys. That's what I base my business on, not on commissions. As you guys know, that something like this NDP change is actually a boon for my business. Because let's look at it in two ways. The listing side, 65-70% of my business is on the listing side. Well, as some guys pointed out on my blog here, when you have restrictions on strata, every restriction you have, either the rental restriction is the big one, no pets is another big one. A lot of them have an age restriction. I've had many stratas that have all three of those. No rentals, no pets allowed, and an age restriction of 19 plus. Some can be 55 plus, but most are 19 plus. That is 3 strikes against me. I'll still sell the home, but I am not selling that anywhere near the value of what I would sell a condo across the street that didn't have those restrictions. So as a listing realtor, if you remove that, I'm selling condos all the time that have a very low cap rate on how many you can rent or no rentals at all. Once you remove that, that's a dream for me. It's going to make it much easier for me to sell this home now, because now I've got the entire demographic of buyers, not just principal residence buyers. The other thing I want to point out to people is I've got many clients into condos that have do not allow rentals, but usually my makeup of those buyers are usually empty nesters, people that are downsizing, older, more mature people that have a good bankroll, have money saved. A lot of times they're paying cash for these units. There's no mortgage. Not having rental restriction for them, a guy in his 60s or 70s, is not a big deal. But for younger buyers, not all, I have had younger buyers that I've gotten into many of these strata that do have a rental restriction. The main reason is that we can get it at a better price. That's one of the key factors. But it's always nice for most young people to have that ability to rent it, even if you have no plans on doing that. Because circumstances can change, and especially when you're in your 20s or 30s, lots of stuff can happen to you, as you guys know. Divorce, sickness, losing your job, job transfers. So it's nice to have that in your back pocket, that if you lost your job or you had to get a transfer to Toronto and the market was completely in the doldrums, you could rent it for a year, wait for the market to recover, which it always does, and then sell it. So it's a boon for me on the listing side if you remove those, the restrictions on rental. And of course, it's great for me on the buying side too. I represent a lot of investor clients. Like I said in that video, it opens up another nice group of strata that I wasn't able to go after. And as many of you guys pointed out, the NDP just doesn't seem to get it. You're going to see an immediate spike in the prices of these good stratas once you remove that rental restriction. And the other thing is you're going to be bidding against investors now, first-time buyers and young families, and chances are you're going to get outbid, or at the very least, it's going to push your purchase price way up. But do you think the NDP consults someone like me on this, or anybody in real estate? They don't. They hate us. They don't pay any attention to the real estate council, the boards. When they tried to put in that cooling off period, we told them it was a useless idea. It doesn't make any sense. Did they listen to us? Of course not. We're the enemy to them. They should consult us on these things, but they don't. So, keep that in mind. I'm telling people that this is, you guys know how I feel about government, but in a way, this NDP policy, if they put it in place, is a boon for my business. I used to have long talks with my father about some of these stratas we used to sell in that didn't allow rentals. And, I would always say to my dad, gee, if they allowed rentals in here, I would have had 3 offers on this home, or I would have sold this home by now. But of course, people are looking at it, and a lot of them are investors, so it's out for them. But even as I said earlier, younger people that have no intention of renting it, they're going to move into it, want that security blanket of maybe being able to rent it if something went wrong. But at the end of the day, my dad and I would say to each other, maybe it's a good thing, because it keeps these stratas available for first-time principal residence buyers only. And I've got so many fantastic stories of young couples that I've bought. I represent them on the buying side, but many of them I've been on the listing side. I didn't get to know them that well. They're not my clients. I'm the listing realtor. But they were, nice young families starting out with maybe a little baby. This was allowing them to get their foothold in the market at a much better price than a strata down the street that allowed rentals. And it amazes me that the NDP just does not understand this. It's slapping them in the face of what they're doing here. Somebody should tell them. But if they want to remove that rental restriction, go right ahead. It's great for my business. But I would, I'm not a heartless realtor as some people think. I want to see young people, young families, first-time buyers getting a leg up, maybe getting some little advantage to get them in the door. And this was kind of the last way they could do it, was by going after a strata that did not allow rentals. These units were all selling below what a comparable unit would be across the street that allowed rentals. That's just the way it is. As one guy pointed out, the more restrictions you have on a strata, the lower the prices are going to be. As you remove those restrictions, up goes the price. And that's the boon for these investors. Once you remove that, they're going to be all over these because they know they're going to get a 15-20% kick probably within the next 2 years just by removing that strata bylaw restricting rental. It is what it is. Thanks to everyone who's subscribed. Thanks to everyone who's still buying my book on Amazon. Thanks to all my new subscribers on Twitter. I'll see you guys next week.